Hello, welcome back. Let's start on our hands and knees for today. First and foremost, setting ourselves up really well with proper measurements. So make 2 fists with the hands, bring them right in between your knees there. And that's just a measurement that the knees are inner hips distance apart. And then walk the hands forward and turn the fingers in towards one another, making sure that the middle fingers can ever so slightly graze. And then keep the heel of the hand right where it is and just rotate the fingers back forward. And that's a little measurement that the hands are shoulder distance apart. From here, grab hold of a block with one of your hands, if you have a block. Place it right up against the knee. And then adjust the knee forward or back so that the knees really flush up against the block there and you find a 90-degree angle. Keep the low body right where it is. Just take that block, move it forward so it's behind the wrist, and then adjust the wrist forward or back so that, again, the block is right up against the wrist there, and you find another 90-degree angle. From there, you can take the block and just set it off to the side. Start to really plug down through the knuckles, start to plug down through the tops of the feet. So you really begin to make good contact with the floor underneath you. Couple more cycles here, just breathing in our tabletop. Breathing in this structure that we just set up for ourselves. One that is organized, one that is efficient, so that then we can start to move through it and find some currency. So on the next inhale, round the spine, suck the navel in and up for a big cat pose. On the exhale, pull the chest forward, arch the spine, open up for a cow pose. Again, just like that, inhaling to round, and exhaling to arch. We'll keep going like that. You can just go at this pace for now, pretty slowly, pretty luxuriously, breathing in and breathing out. Just starting to feel this wave in the spine. As you feel ready, see if you can take these cats and cows a little bit quicker. So starting to amplify the breath, starting to amplify the movement. And even as you take these a bit quicker, see if you can keep that plug of the knuckles and the tops of the feet into the floor. And then the final little piece here is to drop down into your pelvis and initiate this movement a bit more with the pelvis. So that from that initiation, the spine, the neck, the head, the vision can just go along for the ride. As you're ready, you can start to take these even a little bit quicker. Sometimes taking these quicker can make you a little dizzy. If that's happening, just close your eyes. Really starting to drop into your internal landscape. You should be able to hear the sound of your own breath. And then maybe take it faster. One more time, allowing it to get a little wild. Freeing it up, maybe whipping the hair back and forth, having some fun with it. Really starting to generate some heat now, like we were striking a match and starting a fire. Sustaining it a little bit longer than we want to, for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, take a big breath in, round the spine, scoop everything in and up, hollow through the belly. And then let it go, open the mouth, exhale, and release. From here, let's flip the wrist around 180 degrees. Making sure that as you take this flip, you keep the wrist underneath the shoulders there. Really aiming for all 10 fingers to point back towards the knees now. Take a micro bend in the elbows, especially if you know you tend to hyperextend through the elbows. And then from here, start to find some circles with your hips. And you can choose if you want to go clockwise or counterclockwise, doesn't matter. But do begin to notice which direction you chose. And see if you can get your pelvis on every point of that circle. Right, like you were mixing a big pot of soup, or like you were mixing up cake batter. You want everything to blend together. Don't want to miss a spot. Go ahead, take these circles the opposite direction, so the reverse of what you instinctually did. Round and round and round, starting to find our circumference, our radiance. And the more you keep doing this, the more you stick with it, the more likely you can incorporate the spine, the shoulders, the neck, the head. But that's optional, so you may just want to keep it pretty focused in the hips there. Nice. All right, bring the pelvis to neutral, so just quiet those circles down. From here, let's flip the wrist around back to normal, fingers facing forward. Take a moment to plug both hands down into the floor. Refine that good contact. Take an inhale and an exhale. From here, turn the fingers back in towards one another, interlacing them this time, almost like you were finding a third hand, and then bring that third hand right underneath the sternum. From here, just start to take it through some rounds of cat and cow. See if you can keep plugging down through the knuckles, especially where the thumb and the index finger meet. For me, that's always where I find a little lift off of the mat, especially when I find this interlace. So see if you can keep that plug. Good, and just stick with this for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you can slow it down again. Take a couple cats and cows that are luxurious. And catching your breath. From here, flip the wrist again. Backs of the hands come down to the floor. This can be pretty torturous for some of us. So if it feels super, super intense for you, see if you can really press the backs of the hands and the wrist down into the floor. So rather than just sinking down into the wrist and the hands, you actually find a little bit of a lift out of it. Find a little rock here, forward and back. All right, we're going to take one more flip of the wrist. So you'll turn the hands up towards the top edge of the mat, and then keep going with that flip until the palms can come down to the floor. So if you look down at your hands, you should see a little V right on the pinky side of the hands there. Take a micro bend at the elbows. Find a little rock forward and back. If you've never done this before, if you don't do it often, it can be really intense. It helps to bring the hands a little closer to the knees if that's the case. And just take one more full cycle of breath, breathing in and breathing out. All right. We'll release the interlace of the fingers and then plug the hands down to the floor. Again, just take a moment here to refine that contact, using that contact of the hands into the floor to soothe yourself. Using that contact to allow whatever sensations came up to settle and to pass. All right, from here, shift the seat back towards your heels. You're going to tent the fingertips slightly behind you and out to the sides. And then just lift one knee and shin up off of the ground, stretching the top of the foot now. And then just switch sides. And just take this a few more times. Switching to the right and to the left. Massaging the hard, shelly part of the foot. Should feel pretty good, almost like you were getting a back massage. Maybe take a moment, lift up both knees. Finding a little rock. All right, and then just walk yourself forward for a moment so that you can tuck the toes under. And from here, shift your seat back towards your heels. So now we're opening up the sole of the foot, the soft, fleshy, tender, emotional part of the foot. If this feels unbearable for you or just a little too intense, grab hold of a block or a folded up blanket and just slip it right in between your butt and your heels. And that will actually place you right on the ball of the foot rather than just crunching on the toes. From here, grab hold of opposite elbows and then reach the elbows up above your head so your head comes into this frame or this window. Take an inhale here, pressing the bony part of the elbow into the soft fleshy part of the palm. On the exhale, bring the forearms down, widen the collarbones. Again, breathing in and out, and in and out, and in and out, in, out. We'll keep going just like this. Finding a little pranayama here to open up our windows. It's an active inhale and an active exhale, so it's a bellows breath. A breath that's really great for waking yourself up, finding a bit of energy, a bit of life. Good, stick with this. Maybe take it ever so slightly quicker. Keep the elbows plugging into the palms. 10, 9, 8, little lift of the chin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take an inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Hold the breath full at the top. Open the mouth, exhale, and just allow the arms to float down. All right, you're gonna take your block, set it off to the side if you used it. From here, simply untuck the toes and take a moment just to sit backwards onto the feet for a little relief. Maybe rock the hips a little bit side to side. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and meet in a downward facing dog. Now that our little joints are all opened up, right? The fingers, the wrist, the ankles, the toes, the feet. So make your way to your dog pose. For these first few moments, do whatever you want to do. Maybe move a little bit hand to hand or foot to foot. Starting to feel those 4 points of contact. Starting to notice how you're holding ground underneath you. And if you're moving around, do eventually come to some stillness here, plugging down through the feet, the balls of the feet that is, allowing the heels to yearn towards the ground, but knowing that they don't have to come all the way to the ground. That's not really the point. And then take a bend of the knees and see if you can fly the hips up and back even more. Keeping that bend of the knees, even if normally you straighten through the legs, right? So know that the point is also not to straighten all the way through the legs. The point is to really land in a shape that's efficient and sustainable. So the bend of the knees helps to drop some of the effort into the low body and eliminate some of the effort from the upper body. So you should find a sense of lightness in the hands, the arms, and the shoulders, which ultimately will bring you a greater sense of stability and structure. From here, shift it forward to a plank pose. Breathe in, shoulders over wrist, heels over balls of feet, gaze peeking forward out into the future. Breathe out, back to downward facing dog. Let's just take that 3 more times. Inhaling plank. Exhale, dog. Breathe in, plank, unfold. Breathe out, downward facing dog, refold. Last one, inhale, plank. Exhale, dog. From here, shift it forward, past a plank pose into an upward facing dog, keeping the toes tucked. So the hips dip down, the lungs pull forward, the heels stay moving backwards, so the legs really stay fired up. That will help protect the low back. Downward facing dog, pelvis drives you back. We'll just take that 3 more times. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Breathe in, up dog. Nice, breathe out, down dog. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Let's take 1 more for good measure. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, down dog. From here, start to walk the feet forward to the hands and then walk the hands back to the feet, coming to a standing forward fold. And go ahead and grab a blanket or a towel if you have one handy. And just fold it a couple times so that it looks somewhat like this, almost like a small bolster. And you're going to stand right up onto the lip of the blanket, so the heels are on the blanket, balls of the feet are onto the mat. So you put yourself on a slight downhill slope, a little incline. From here, make 2 fists with the hands. Bring them right across the arches of the feet. So just taking, excuse me, another measurement of hips distance apart. And then grab hold of opposite elbows. Same grip that we were just working with. Pointy part of the elbow into the fleshy part of the palm. So the head can just dangle in between the biceps. Take a nice bend of the knees so that the belly comes into contact with the thighs. See if you can center your weight so it's really over the arch of the foot, right? So you're equally moving forward into the ball of the foot, equally moving backwards into the heel, equally moving forward into the future, equally moving backwards into the past. So you find yourself over the arch of the foot and you find yourself more and more in the present. You find yourself more and more here. See if you can keep lifting the butt up towards the ceiling so that rather than dropping the butt down, you find a bit of levity in the pelvis. We have about 10 more cycles of breath. It can be really helpful to count those 10 cycles of breath, so giving your brain a little task to follow through with. All the while, we're planting down through the feet, recentering ourselves over the center of the foot. We're bending the knees so that the belly stays close to the thighs and find good contact with ourselves. We're lifting the pelvis up so that rather than just statically hanging over the legs, we can really start to find some beautiful currency moving through us. And we can really start to move out in all of these directions at the same time. So feet plug down, knees forward, butt lifts up, head lets go. You can imagine yourself in the center of a sphere radiating out, or like a big sun projecting its rays in all directions. Have a couple more cycles of breath. Good. Let go of the elbows. From here, bend the knees even a little bit more, and then start to roll yourself up to stand one vertebra at a time. And when you arrive in vertical, just take a moment to stand. Take a moment on your own 2 feet. It can be a lot to hang over the legs for that long, so you might need to close your eyes and reorient yourself. As you're ready, release the chin down to the chest and take that slow roll the reverse direction, so all the way back down over the legs. From here, grab hold of your 2 blocks if you have them. If not, then don't worry about it. You're going to take a nice bend of the knees and start to walk the blocks forward out in front of you, bringing them onto the highest height setting, tenting the fingertips onto the block so that you stay really light in the arms and the hands. Right, so you feel your hands moving forward, you feel your butt moving backwards. So if you were to put yourself in the center of a clock face, you would be moving forwards towards 12 o'clock, you would be moving backwards towards 6 o'clock. So we're always moving in at least 2 directions at the same time. Keep bending the knees, keep lengthening through the spine, and see if you can find a sense of widening through the collarbone, so you even start to find a little back bend here in the upper chest. Let's start to walk the blocks over to the right. Now walking them over towards about 2 o'clock on that clock face. And as we reach towards the right, see if you can plug down a little bit more through that left foot. See if you can keep peeking forward up at the hands, not so you're cranking your head and your neck, just so that you stay open in the chest. Stay long, walk the blocks back through the center, passing through 12 o'clock, and then walk them over to the left. This time reaching towards 9 o'clock. Or 10 o'clock rather. 9 o'clock is a little bit too far. So as we reach towards the left, plug down a little bit more through that right foot. Stay long, walk the blocks back to the center one last time. From here, keep the knees bent, keep the butt moving backwards behind you, and then just float the arms up. Have the belly lift slightly off of the thighs there for a half chair pose. So you can really feel yourself being pulled apart here. So you're reaching towards the top edge of the mat. At the same time, you're reaching back towards the back edge of the mat, almost like you were being pulled apart like putty. Peel the belly up off of the thighs even more to find a chair pose, Katonah. Chest is shining forward, vision is forward, out on a horizon in front of you. Knees are still bent, your seat is still low. Slowly press the floor away to rise all the way up to stand. Take a big inhale, climb up tall. Exhale to swim the arms behind you and interlace the fingers behind the back. Take a breath in here, puff the chest up. Breathe out to bend the knees and refold all the way over the legs, heading the hands forward. See if you can find some contact between the palms, maybe even the wrist here. So you refine that sensation of a third hand. You continue to find more contact with yourself, because more contact is always soothing, more nourishing. One more full cycle of breath. All right, release the interlace of the fingers. Just allow the arms to float down. From here, we're going to slip the palms underneath our feet. So the soft, fleshy part of the foot comes to the soft, fleshy part of the palm. Middle finger traces along the arch of the foot. Toes come all the way up to the wrists. We'll fold here, allowing the elbows to widen out, keeping the knees bent, just like how we found in our first fold. So you keep the belly on the thighs. See if you can keep that levity in the pelvis. Plug down through your big toe. Almost getting a little massage for the thumb mound there, which can feel really nice. We have 5 more cycles of breath. Release one hand out and then the other. You can take your blanket and set it off to the side. You can take your blocks and set them off to the side. And you'll walk your hands forward. You'll walk your feet back to return to a downward facing dog. And we'll just stay here for a few cycles of breath. Reorganize yourself. 2 hands, 2 feet. Little bend of the knees, refinding that triangle shape, refinding 3 sides, refinding strength and stability and structure. From here, look forward with the gaze. Take an inhale. On the exhale, lunge the right foot forward all the way up to the hands. Bring the back knee down to the mat. Untuck those back toes. From here, grab hold of opposite elbows. Start to reach the elbows forward and then up to unfold the shape in Anjaneyasana with your head coming into this window. And go ahead and open up that window. Find a full, buoyant breath. Take in the view. Keep plugging down through the balls of the feet here, so that you really keep the stability in the low body, so that then the upper body has more availability. One more inhale. On the exhale, release the belly down onto the thigh, release the elbows. From here, turn those right toes out slightly so they're facing towards 2 o'clock. Bring the left hand out wide, rising up onto the fingertips, so the left hand is at 10 o'clock. And then you'll reach up with the right arm, coming into a twist. So you should feel one long line of energy all the way from the left fingertips and then up through the right fingertips. Option to stay right here for a few cycles of breath, or option to bend that back knee and catch hold of the foot. And if you do catch hold of the foot, really think of kicking the foot into the hand. Try to keep your pelvis moving forward here. So you keep this work in the hips. We have one more cycle of breath. And then just release the foot if you're holding onto it. We'll all bring ourselves back forward. Turn those right toes forward. One hand comes on either side of that front foot. Back toes tuck under, and we'll step back, downward facing dog. Take an inhale to shift it forward to a plank or a tucked or up dog, you choose. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Look forward with the gaze, take a breath in. Breathe out, lunge the left foot forward all the way up to the hands, full lunge. Right knee comes down to the mat, untuck those right toes, refine that plug of the top of the foot into the floor. Grab hold of opposite elbows, and then we'll sweep the elbows forward and up, Anjaneyasana. You can almost feel the legs hugging in towards one another here. Especially if you tend to go super deep, like sinking down into your depths. Think of the inner seams of the legs just gently hugging in, which will give the legs a little buoyancy, like you were pumping some air into tires. Propel the lungs forward and then up to back bend for one more breath in. Breathe out to release the belly down into the thigh, and then release the elbows. Turn those left toes out to 10 o'clock. You'll bring the right hand out, rising up onto the fingertips at 2 o'clock, and then reach up with that left arm. Right, so we pop up onto the fingertips here so that we stay light in that bottom hand, so that we don't sink down into the shoulder. Maybe bend the back knee and catch hold of the foot. If that's the case, kick, kick, kick the foot into the hand. One more breath in, and one more breath out. Rotate yourself back forward, turn those right toes forward, bring one hand on either side of that front foot, and we'll step back, downward facing dog. Inhale to shift forward to a plank or an up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Look forward with the gaze, take an inhale. On the exhale, lunge the right foot forward. From here, reach the arms forward and up, rising into a high lunge. We'll begin to take this into a twist. So, twist from the navel towards the right edge of the mat. Start to bend that left elbow. Make a fist with the left hand. Bring the right hand open on top of that fist. And then punch the fist into the hand, just like a baseball being caught in a mitt. Elbows and forearms are stacked, revolving up towards the ceiling. Almost imagining you're making a full revolution around yourself. One more inhale. On the exhale, just unwind, rotate back forward. Take a moment here just to extend through that right leg. We won't be here too long. Just sort of passing through a pyramid pose. Rebend the right knee, come back, downward facing dog. Inhale to a plank or an up dog. Exhale to a down dog. Look forward, and then lunge the left foot forward. We'll rise up to a high lunge. From here, start to find a twist over to the left. Really plug down through the feet here. Keep that left knee traveling forward. Keep that right heel moving backwards. Bend the right elbow. Find contact, right arm onto left leg. Make a fist with that right hand. Bring the left hand open on top of that fist. Find that perfect fit, and then revolve. One more inhale. On the exhale, unwind, and take a moment just to extend through that left leg for a little relief, passing through this pyramid pose. Let the head go. We'll come back to a downward facing dog, big step back. Breathe into a plank or an up dog. Breathe out, downward facing dog. From here, bring the knees down onto the mat, keep them close together, untuck the toes, and then just release your arms by your sides, palms facing up. So you come into a seed pose. It's like a mini child's pose here. Really folding into yourself, like you could tuck your knees into your eyeball sockets. Come to roll yourself all the way upright. We're going to go ahead and end with a quick pranayama. So grab a block or 2 blocks or a blanket, whatever you like to use. Making your way to a hero's pose, Virasana, with the knees drawn together, with the hips slightly above the knees there. So you find another downhill slope. Find a little forward tilt of the pelvis so that you arrive right on your perineum, plugging down into the blocks, blocks plugging down into the floor, floor plugging down into the structure below you, structure plugging down into the earth, having that energy move all the way to the core of the planet. And then watching that energy travel back up, passing through the perineum, helping you find a nice tall spine, a long neck. Halo hovering right above your head. And then have that energy continue outwards through the ceiling, into the atmosphere, all the way into the cosmos. So you start to connect yourself to everything that is below you and everything that is above you. Finding yourself dangling upon this golden thread. Let's reach the arms up to make a V. Form little cups with your hands so the palms are facing the ceiling, the fingers curling in, so that the palms become a bit more open and receptive to whatever comes your way. You can either close the eyes or keep them open. Do find a little lift of the chin here so that even if the eyes are closed, you can imagine looking out at a horizon in front of you, looking out at all that there is to see, looking out at all that there is that you will never see. Take a big breath in through the nose. Open the mouth to exhale. Seal the lips, take another inhale through the nose. This time on the exhale, let's turn to round of Kapalabhati. So you keep going, I'm just going to talk you through it. It's sharp exhales through the nose, so out, 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 out. Exhale, 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 exhale. So the exhale is really energetic and active, and the inhale is a bit more passive. So it becomes an effortful exhale, an effortless inhale. You don't have to go quite as fast as how I'm going. Find a speed that's steady and sustainable for you, one that you can stick with. And then keep going even a little bit longer. This breath is really good for cleansing out anything that we don't need. You can imagine it's like your breath taking a really cool, brisk shower. Keep the V with your arms, keep the cups with your hands, keep that little lift of the chin. For another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hook the thumbs, take a breath in, reach the arms up. Hold the breath full, full, full at the top. Pop your cork, open the mouth, exhale. Allow the arms just to float down, the hands to settle into the lap. The breath returns back to normal, or it finds a new normal now that we've manipulated it. Soften the muscles of the face, unclench the jaw. Feel the hair on your own head, the heart resting easy in your chest, the air all around you. As you're ready, you can blink the eyes on open. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.